Obviously, I would never ask anybody to say anything that they didn't believe in. I think it's important that the male voices that we hear in this conversation are genuine and that they mean what they say, because, you know, we don't need any more posturing in this community, that's for sure.
Men are just as important in this conversation as women are. Even to this day, men tend to control the rugby clubs we play in, they tend to control where the spend is, they tend to run our unions. The only way to make sure we can make a real difference to women is to make sure men are part of the conversation. It's why there is a male on every panel on the tour. It's why we want men in the rooms and the audiences. It's why we want to engage with men in the community, and we want clubs to be one rugby club, not a men's side and a women's side. So for me, having more men in this conversation is how we make real change.
A giant like Ugo Monye being a very active ally for the women's game is huge, because he's the kind of person, no matter what he's talking about, people sit up and listen.
My daughters are 4 and 1.5, or just about. I hope that by the age when they're able to make their own decisions, become teenagers and get exposed to lots of different sports, that the route into, whether it's rugby, tennis, football, whatever it is, I just hope they have a positive experience.
Male allies are massive to women's sport. It gives it that extra little bit of kudos, especially men that might be sitting on the fence about women's sport. If they hear a man talk about it in his expert opinion, or he's supporting the women's game, actually, yeah, that Ian Wright knows his stuff, or that Ugo Monye knows his stuff, and actually, yeah, let's give the women's sport a bit of a go, and then they realise just how good it is. It's about the male allies supporting the women's game, be vocal about it, shouting about it, and standing up when it really counts as well. When others maybe don't shout from the rafters, we need those allies to actually say it's a really good game, or tweet about when the next game is, or talk about their role models, or it might be some of the men wearing the women's names on their back. That would be absolutely amazing, and it has been done, and you know, that's great to see. Jordan Henderson, for example, he wore Leah Williamson's training shirt to a Liverpool training session, and that was great, and that's what you want, you know, role models, whether you're male or female, doesn't matter, and whether you're male or female wearing the kit, absolutely brilliant, supporting who you want to support, that's great. It's really important that our male allies stand up and shout out on the tough days as well as the good days. It's all very easy to jump on the wave of, you know, the success of a women's team doing really well. But we want to know that you're there on the tough days, on the hard days, when we're getting a lot of slack or people are saying women's sport is rubbish. Actually, you stand up, and you stand up against your male counterparts, the women, whoever has been negative about it, that you are there showing up, standing up, talking out, and going against maybe some people that are going to say some bad things to you. But it's about looking after your female counterparts.
The most important thing I would like any male associated with sport or with rugby to know off the bat is that their voices are needed in this conversation. Obviously, I would never ask anybody to say anything that they didn't believe in. I think it's important that the male voices that we hear in this conversation are genuine and that they mean what they say, because, you know, we don't need any more posturing in this community, that's for sure.
It's easy to assume that only girls follow us, but actually boys and men follow us too. And it's becoming a bit more socially acceptable for men to come up to us and say congratulations. I think sometimes they might feel a bit like, oh, it's a bit weird, like following women's sport as a man, but it's becoming a lot more normal, thankfully.
Women's rugby has changed a lot over the past 12 months, and mainly the fact that there's been a World Cup, and we've seen on the world stage that people want to watch the women's game. People associate the women's game as a different brand. Like, we talk about the different brands of rugby. It depends what type of rugby you want to watch, and if you call yourself a rugby fan, you have to be watching both men and women. If you only watch the men's game, fine, but you're a men's rugby fan, and if you only watch the women's game, fine, but you're a women's rugby fan. The true rugby fans will watch everyone, they will just watch rugby. And now it's available. Whether it's the Prem 15s League, whether it's World Cup, whether it's Six Nations, it's out there, it's on free-to-air TV, and the change is just going to continue to grow.
I think the achievement she would like at this moment in time in rugby is to play in the World Cup. She would love to do that, and I would love her to do that. If she could get into that team for the World Cup, that would be her sort of pinnacle of her career in rugby, I think.
Within No Woman No Try, my mum spoke about me playing at a World Cup was the pinnacle of my career and wanting to get on that plane. So as a selection came, that was first goal achieved, and at a time I was actually just happy to be in the team, because that time last year I wasn't even being picked in the team. So it was sort of made the team tick. And again, with my personality, I'm like, okay, well, what's next? Well, I have an ambition to play. And although it didn't happen in the first few games, it was about staying positive, staying fit, because especially as a prop, as a front row, you're one of the most likely people to play if you've not played earlier in the tournament. So yeah, keeping myself positive and keeping myself almost like available and wanting to play, which I was able to do. And then to get the call up for the final pool game against South Africa, to then score in a World Cup. I've only scored 3 tries for England in my time. One of them's been at a World Cup, so I'll take that. And yeah, it's always about what's next. And then being able to play not only in the semi-final, but the final as well. It was like, it's nothing I could have even thought about. It's nothing I could have planned for. The almost emotion that goes with it alongside selection, you're like, wow, pretty cool, pretty cool. As much as I love playing rugby, I love training for rugby, I like the physical challenge, I like keeping myself fit, I like keeping myself in a good, me and my body in a good, healthy, strong place. Actually, my deep down why is about other people, and it's about empowering other people and getting people to realise that sport is almost just the surface level. It's more about what sport does for you as a person. And if anybody at this moment in time needs help from sport, it's actually everybody. Listening to so much of the bad stuff going on, the pressures in social media, the pressures of growing up now as a teenager. I actually wouldn't want to be in school as a teenager at the moment. So like my why is getting other people to realise that they can do more, they're worth more, and whatever they're doing, yes, there's almost definitely going to be somebody saying, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And whether they're literally saying it with those words, or maybe they're just hinting at it and, not helping you out to get to your dream, get to your end goal. But actually this is about you, this is about individuals as a person, realising that you can empower yourself. And yes, it would be good if you had help along the way, but if you didn't, you can still achieve so much more than what you're doing. And especially if you want to do more, go out and do it. This is on you, and people will help you along the way. Some people won't help you along the way. Some people will say yes to you, some people will say no. But you've got to realise this is about you. This is about you knocking on doors. Nobody's answering, fine, I'm kicking the door in because I'm coming into that room. Whether I belong there, well, whether you think I belong there or not, I want to be in that room and I'm coming. In the World Cup final, we had a packed out Eden Park Stadium, and it felt special to just be in. You could feel the buzz and the hum, and every moment there was a noise made, whether it was a tackle, whether it was a pass, whether it was a kick. You could feel the crowd just buying into the game, and as much as most of them weren't necessarily on our side within the stands, the English fans that were there, they were certainly very noisy. So it felt special to be able to play in that atmosphere and environment, but at the same time, I could not stop thinking about the potential of playing in front of more than double that at a Twickenham at an England 2025 World Cup tournament. So it's like you get a little taste of it, and with being an elite athlete, with anything in life, you get a little taste and you think, I want a bit more. So yeah, absolutely amazing to play in a World Cup final in front of so many people, but the next step in my head, imagine playing in front of even more. Imagine playing in a stadium twice this size, full of people. And in England, the majority are going to be English. That's the dream.